And hello all, and welcome back to Short and Smoky, the short cigar review series. Now, it's been quite a while since we've had an episode of this, so if your memory's a bit fuzzy, or if you're new to the series altogether, this is our spin-off series to the Smoking Hour with myself and Stephen Midnight. But whereas on the Smoking Hour, that's more of just kind of a podcast over a couple cigars. We really don't talk too much about cigars. This, we cut out, the entire hour of us running our mouth, and I just get right into rating a cigar. So that is what we're going to do here today. And today we are going to be smoking the Ashton Cabinet number 7 by Tabacalera Fuente. Now, this is actually my first time smoking anything from the Ashton line. When I actually got back into cigars just a couple years ago, this was one I was always wanting to try, but these things do tend to be a little pricey. And then once I really started exploring other blends and more complex bodied cigars, I, kind of just let this one fall to the wayside. And I hadn't really forgot about it, but I just never really set out to buy it. But I was actually gifted this for my birthday just a few months ago by a family I want to give a huge shout out to, as they are huge fans of the band and all big fans of the channel. So huge shout out to Eric, Nikki, Sunshine, and Elvis. Thank you very much for this. So, I didn't pay anything for this. So, hey, for price, this is already going to get a pretty good mark right there. And again, if you're new to this or you've forgotten how it works, you can go back to, I believe it is my second video in the series, and that talks about how I rate cigars, my cigar rating system. And again, this is something I made up because I didn't really like the rating systems put out by, Cigar Aficionado and some of these other ones. So this one is catered specifically to me. And I apologize about the lighting. I know it keeps, my background keeps kind of getting light and dark. I don't really know what's going on with that at the moment. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and give this a cut and get smoking. All right, so right from the start here, getting a lot of notes of cedar in here. Definitely a lot of cream, a little bit of coffee, a little toast. Pretty much everything I would expect from a Connecticut wrapper. Now, where other cigars with a Connecticut wrapper, those flavors can be, fairly muted, or they're just kind of there. This one, they're all right on the forefront. Definitely a nuttiness in there. Again, just getting a lot of those flavors, you come to expect from a Connecticut wrapper, but much more intense than I was expecting. But we're going to go ahead and get into the first third of this, and I will let you know what I think after that. All right, so that about does it for the first third of that. Uh, Flavors are pretty much the same, but starting to get a little bit of toffee in there, or kind of like a salted caramel. A lot of butter in this. This is a very buttery, creamy cigar. And the construction on it so far has been phenomenal. The ash has actually just dropped. Right as I started rolling, I had to cut because it just fell on me all at once. Never did drop the ash once until just then. So, so far I'm pretty impressed with this. But we'll see how it continues into the second third. All right, so we're just now finishing up the second third here. And as you can see, had a little bit of issue here. Pretty much right after I turned off the camera, uh, took a few more draws and the wrapper just cracked on me. But surprisingly enough, it has not went out yet at all, and the burn is still pretty even for the most part. Uh, pull this little shred of wrapper off there. Yeah, it's still doing pretty good. I don't know if it just has to do with the weather today. It's been in my humidor. Now, granted, I just upgraded my humidification system in my humidor literally just this past weekend. So maybe, while I had these setting in a bag with Boveda packs while I was seasoning my other one, maybe I've not given enough time to acclimate back to my humidor. And it's a bit cool out today again, so that could have something to do with it. But again, I really can't complain because, yeah, it cracked. I left it on there and it's still burnt right through it. So, really, no issue with it so far. The draw and the smoke output is just the same as it's been all the way through. So, I'm going to leave that up to just, my error. I'll still probably knock a point off for it, but I really can't knock off much because of how well it's still holding up, regardless of that. But we're going to go ahead and finish this up, and I'll let you know what I think at the end. And that'll just about do it for the Ashton Cabinet number 7. I got a little bit more room on this to smoke, but I'm starting to lose daylight, so I figured I'd go ahead and get my rating to you before it gets dark. And again, this was the Ashton Cabinet number 7 from Tabacalera Fuente, sporting a Connecticut Shade wrapper and Dominican filler. This was a Toro at a 52 ring gauge with a 6¼ inch length. And of course, I gave this a straight cut and let this age right about 3 months. Now, I really don't know where this was bought. Again, this was a birthday gift to me. I want to say he said it came from Total Wine and More, though, so, I'll just go ahead and say that. And this was at no cost to me, but these do typically average about $12 or $13 in most cigar shops. So, obviously, this band gets a perfect 5. That is absolutely beautiful. And as for the appearance, I did have to knock a couple points off because, as you can see, toward the foot, there was a little bit of chipping, and uh, there was a little tiny crack in the wrapper, and I guess there was my dead giveaway that it was going to crack on me. So, only knocked off a couple points there, though. And I had to give it a 10 for price, though. Even with that cracking, you'll see why I gave this a 10 for the price, even if I had paid for this. Now, if I had paid for it, I might knock a point or two off because of the cracking, but the fact that this was a gift, I couldn't beat that. So the draw on this is actually a perfect 10. Just the right bit of resistance. Now the smoke output, it's just a tiny bit too light, so I only knocked off a point for that. Perfect 10 on the burn, though. I never once relit this or even touched it up. Now the construction, I only knocked 1 point off because I'm going to go ahead and attribute that wrapper cracking to the temperature, the climate, and possibly just the personal error with my humidor situation. Now, this being a Connecticut wrapper, they're pretty mild cigars for the most part. So I'm really not expecting one to be too strong, but I did knock off a point for strength because, you know, I do like them a bit stronger, but I'm not expecting them to be, the strongest cigars out there. As for the flavors of this, like I said, it's a lot of what you'd expect from a traditional Connecticut wrapper. Lots of cedar, cream, butter, nuts, some light roast coffee in there. And then into the second third, again, was getting some caramel, a little bit of toffee. And then here on the final third, really got some just natural sweet tobacco flavors and some very sweet spice coming in. And then right at the end, little tiny notes of tea. I don't know if it's having to do with what I was pairing it with today. And a little bit of citrus right on the finish. So, you know, a pretty good body for this. The flavors, for the most part, stay the same. Again, it's a Connecticut wrapper, but like I said at the beginning, these flavors are much stronger than most other Connecticut's I smoke. So this definitely got a 9 for the body, and I only knocked off a couple points for the flavor because these are not my favorite flavors to get out of cigars. I like some, cigars really heavy with chocolate and some darker coffee. But again, I'm not going to complain. It's a Connecticut. I know the flavors I'm going to expect from it, and it delivered. And I'm not opposed to these flavors at all, but of course I do just like a little more flavor in one. And of course, I smoked this entire thing, pairing it with my extra sweet tea. Now, I accidentally left any food I was going to pair with this at the house, but I know this will go great with my fig bars that I usually smoke with my Connecticut wrapped cigars. So, definitely next time I'm going to try it with that, and who knows, it might even get a higher rating with that. And my final rating today was a 92 for the Ashton Cabinet number 7. Now, I believe Cigar Aficionado actually gave this a 91 just a few years ago. So, I'm kind of beating out their rating for it. I absolutely love this cigar. Definitely one I'm going to go back to. And I'd have to check my notes, but I think this actually might be my highest rated Connecticut wrapper cigar to date. Don't quote me on that till I go back and check, but it very well could be. So again, a huge thank you to the family who gave me this for my birthday. Eric, Nikki, Sunshine, Elvis, thank you all for all that you do, for supporting me on the channel, supporting our band. Cannot thank you enough. So that's going to about do it today for Short and Smoky. I hope you all have enjoyed this, and it's good to see you all again in the new year. And stay tuned, of course, for the rest of my off-season series coming up. Of course, we have more episodes of Next Exit coming up, and my new show, Rest Stop, will be premiering within the next couple months. So definitely stay tuned for that. Again, I just want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Stay smoky, my friends.